Okay, welcome to First Universalist of New Madison on this in betwixt and between day, after Christmas but before New Year's, which is what we're going to talk about today, liminal. It's a word I didn't even understand what it was until I thought about subliminal. So it's the opposite of subliminal, and it is betwixt and between. And I thought, well, this is really interesting, and I told my wife, Tara, what I was going to talk on, and I thought it was like an esoteric thing that nobody knew anything about. Evidently, people that went to theology or theological school have a degree in theology. The liminality is all over the place. She said, oh, I've got like 3 books and a bunch of articles and everything else. And I said, I've got like 2 or 3 hours to prepare. I said, I can't go through 3 books and 2 or 5 articles. So what you're going to get is an overview of liminality, or the betwixt and between Christmas, between New Year's, and if you think about a lot of things it takes place in the transitions of life, for marriage or for graduation, any of these events in life that change, like a phase change from one change to another, that is liminality, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, and we're also going to Happy New Year, so we're going to throw that in the new year, and that's partially the hook we're going to hang it on, is we are hoping for change in the new year. Lots of things could use improvement. Okay, we have any announcements? Nope, not an announcement that I know of either, so hopefully everybody had a good Christmas. We had a good Christmas Eve service at El Dorado. Derek always gives a great sermon, and we have some good music. And I did one here. If you want to look on Facebook, it'll be there. I think they leave them up about a month and then they take them down. I think the church really looks spectacular at night when the lights are off and the candles are lit. So we did that again, but you don't get the effect when it's still very light. Our prelude, and we're going to stay with the Christmas theme, God rest ye merry gentlemen. I forgot, since Kenny's not here, the camera doesn't turn itself. Chalice lighting. On the brink of a new year, I'm letting my politics show again. Here's our Christmas-themed little slide. We light this chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention, and these are words by Lois Van Leer. Our opening hymn is 231, Angels We Have Heard on High, as you see the angel here under the ice helicopter at Bethlehem. And you can see I stayed with the ice theme on our next photo here. Our affirmation is in between. In between, liminal, that space where we wait between moments, events, results, action, no action. To stand on the threshold, waiting for something to end and something new to arrive. A pause in the rumble of time. Awareness claims us, alert, a shadow of something different. In between invitation and acceptance, in between symptom and diagnosis, in between send and receipt of inquiry and question, in between love given and love received. Liminality, a letting go, entering into confusion, ambiguity and distortion, a ritual begun, pause, look back at what once was, look forward into what becomes. Identity sheds a layer, reaches into something uncomfortable to wear. In between lighting of the match and the kindling of oil, in between choosing of text and the reading of words, in between voices and notes carried through the air into the ears to hear. In between creation thrusts ever forward. Social hierarchies may disassemble and structures may fall. Communities may revolt or tempt trust. Tradition may falter or creativity crashes forward. Leaders may step down or take charge. The people may choose or refuse. In between, storm predicted, the horizon beckons. In between, the theology of process reminds us to step back. In between, where minutiae and galaxies intermingle with microbes and mysteries. In between, liminal, that space where we wait, look, listen, feel, and breathe. Those are words by Kate R. Walker. And this is my in-between, and here is another one. This one I especially like. This, to me, is an example of liminal space. You're lost between, you're not sure where you are. I was going to put an M.C. Escher pickup, but I forgot to do it. If you're familiar with M.C. Escher, an artist, the same liminal space between, and you've lost in confusion, you don't know where you are. That's kind of what we get to. It also extends into
two roads diverged in the yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one, as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had really worn them about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by.
Let's go back one. This is the Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken. Did you catch the last line and how many people refer to this poem by that title? The Road Less Traveled. What's the difference between the road not taken and the road less traveled? What we're talking about is between wakefulness and sleep, that threshold, a doorway where you're coming out of something and going into something, something between sanctioned and unsanctioned brutality, and this is referring to ICE. There is a liminal kind, officially condemned, but operating in the service of sanctioned power. ICE is a officially sanctioned government agency. They have officially sanctioned rules which they do not follow. It is between sanctioned and unsanctioned brutality. That is the liminal space of in between. They operate out of control, doing things that we all look at in horror, and yet there doesn't seem to be anything we can do about it. We, at this time in our nation and this time in our politics, are on the cusp of a change. We have a choice to make which direction we go. I don't think there's any doubt about that. All right, better known by its antonym, subliminal, is below consciousness. More importantly, subliminal messages are designed to bypass the conscious mind, influencing behavior and thoughts without awareness. In contrast, liminal states are about being on the threshold, marking the beginning of change, of transition, often conscious and often perceived. In the internet aesthetics, liminal spaces are empty or abandoned places which appear eerie, which is what this picture and what M.C. Escher does, forlorn, often surreal. Liminal spaces are commonly places of transition pertaining to the concept of liminality, which, as I mentioned earlier, there seems to be a ton of information that people are talking about, new to me. Broadly, the term liminal space is used to describe a place or state of change or transition, maybe physical, like a doorway, psychological, like a period of adolescence. Liminal space imagery often depicts this sense of in-between as capturing transitional spaces such as stairwells, roads, path less traveled, corridors, or hotels, unsettlingly devoid of people. The aesthetic may convey moods of eeriness, surrealness, nostalgia, sadness, and elicit responses of comfort and unease. Liminality is prevalent in religion. Liminality can manifest itself during significant life events such as baptisms, confirmations, and other rites of passage. These are times of importance when your emotional sensitivity is at its heightened awareness, a time of change, born again. You hear often of people having a religious experience. They were in a liminal period, leaving a sense of where they thought they were and going into a sense of where they either want to be or feel they're being led to be. These moments allow individuals to experience a sense of in-betweenness, where they can question their existing beliefs and practices, leading to deeper spiritual insights. Liminal spaces are often seen as sacred, providing opportunities for individuals to encounter the divine and explore new dimensions of their faith. They are rites of passage. The narratives of the Hebrew and Christian scriptures often present divine activity and revelation as unfolding within the womb of liminal transformation. Noah huddled in his ark, surrounded by pairs of opposites, and passed through 40 days of transition between the old and the new world. Liminal does not have to be an instantaneous thing. It can be a thing of duration, 40 days and 40 nights in the ark. Jesus was tested in the wilderness. That's Matthew 4, 1 through 11. And the tomb of death was transformed into a path of light. Matthew 28, 1 through 10. the time of laying in the tomb before Mary came to discover that Christ had risen, a liminal space, a time of transition, leaving the old and heading into the new. The poem of Robert Frost, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them reality about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. If you think back in your life of the roads that diverged, and you took the one less traveled, or perhaps the one more traveled, how has your life changed by decisions you made that completely revolutionized what your life would be? I think back when my wife decided to go into the ministry full time, took a church, and then left the farm. So I was milking cows by myself, I was filling silo by myself, I was baling hay by myself. Untenable, impossible to do by yourself. Then she took a church in Pleasant Hill, Ohio. So I left the farm, and something I had thought I would do the rest of my life, milk cows, plant corn, harvest silage, watch little baby calves being born, enjoy the 365 days, every morning and every night doing the same thing. Repetition, it was not repetition to me, it was home. And that life was gone, that road less traveled. I became to Pleasant Hill, wandered for a while, and then started to volunteer for the fire department and the rescue squad. Went ahead and got my degree as an EMS or a EMS person, and then went ahead and went on to nursing school, and it's led me to a completely different life, completely as far away from farming as you could possibly drag me, except I still have a horse, I still have hay, I still have chores. We still have cats and dogs. We still take care of animals. That is part of life, but nothing like the dairy farm used to be. A liminal space when we arrived in Pleasant Hill, when I had been torn away from my usual occupation, my usual things to do. And I actually substitute milk for a couple dairy farmers in Dark County here that needed somebody to cover them on Christmas, which we could never get, which I found, this is a little aside that I don't want my wife to know, but she has a really prolific family, and they go to family gatherings. Before Christmas, we went to one side of her family. After Christmas, we went to the other side of her family. New Year's, we went to the third side of her family, which she didn't even know she had three sides. My excuse, we have to leave, I have to get home and milk. So at least you couldn't make me stay any longer than a couple hours at any of these places. So don't tell her that. So, but that is a liminal space, that is a change that changed my life. I'm sure everybody has had those experiences. Someone dies, someone gets married, you have an accident, you graduate from college or you fail out of college, you're offered a job which changes your life, you meet the person which changes your life, you have children which changes your life, or you lose children which changes your life. All of these things are there. What it comes down to on the liminal space is you can't have your cake and eat it too. A story that, and this is, I read a little bit of history on Robert Frost. I don't know if you're familiar with his history. He left the United States and went to Britain because he wanted to be a poet and was not accepted here. He began to publish poetry, and this is in the early 1900s. Began to publish poetry in Britain right before the outbreak of World War When World War I came out, he was threatened with service in the British Army, so he returned to the United States and took a job as a professor so he would not have to serve. His best friend and confidant could not do that, enlisted in the British Army and was killed in a World War I battle. That, they say, is part of the impetus, part of the history behind what causes the road less traveled, the road that not taken. That was his friend chose a road that Robert Frost did not, and you can see the differences it caused in each one of their lives. What are your choices? What are the consequences? What choices have you made, and what choices will you make? That is where we stand at the new year. We have choices to make as far as our politics go. The information that comes out is just horrendous, not only just ICE, and we can go through the litany of all of those things, the demolition of the White House, the things that are being proposed, being done, the quest for a Nobel Peace Prize as we blow up boats in the Caribbean Sea, as we threaten war on Venezuela, as we now bomb in Nigeria, when the Nigerians knew nothing about it, when we are supposedly protecting Christians, when this is in the upper part of Nigeria where there are very few Christians, and the Nigerian government has said these gangs are indiscriminate. They attack Muslims, Christians, Buddhists. They attack to take money and steal from people. It's not an attack on Christians. None of this makes any sense. It's basically a war power gone wild is what we're seeing. Okay, that's all I have. We're going to be a little short today, but that's all right. Any questions, comments on liminality? Any discussion on liminality? Anybody want to offer an example? Okay. Anybody have, anybody, like as I say every week, anybody has suggestions on what you want to hear for the next topic, either let me know or send me a text or an email, and we'll put anything in we can get. All right. Next is the offering. My favorite things is what we'll hear. I was so impressed. Derek can do that a cappella. And it's perfect. I mean, what a gift, what a talent to be able to sing. So maybe I should learn. I think I'm a little old. This dog might be learning those tricks. I actually breeze right by joys and concerns, and that's an important part of what we do. So we got everybody. I talked about this before. We got everybody. There's 35 people or so got a letter from Margaret that she had an episode in the parking lot of the Y where she passed out getting out of her car. It's a combination of two things. Orthostatic hypotension is where it's when you are sitting down and you stand up and the blood rushes away from your head and everything gets faint and you get dizzy, and sometimes it's bad enough that you actually pass out. That was complicated by evidently she has a history of atrial fibrillation, which she did not know about, which is when your heart beats out of rhythm and too fast. And that can also cause hypotension. That can cause you to faint. So she is back home. Patrick is taking care of her. We're going to, after church, we'll fill out a get well card and send to her. And we send her responses on email. So hopefully she's feeling better and we'll be able to cope with this. There are easily treatments. Pacemaker is a common treatment for atrial fibrillation, but there's also medication you can take that works on that too. So, or hopefully Mark will do better. Haven't heard from anybody else. Anybody else have?
I had some friends who visited Roberta, and as you recall, she relocated to Middletown to be closer to her daughter. And the friends that visited her said her place is beautiful, even more spacious than what she had in Greenville, and that she's doing very well.
Good.
So light a candle for continued good health and well-being for Roberta.
And if anybody's interested, it's possible that we could plan a little outing after church sometime just to meet down in Middletown and say hi to her, and then maybe go on to the Carillon Park or someplace like that, have a meal. I don't know if you've been to Carillon Park before. It's a really interesting little museum there, interesting stuff to see, and it's a fun place to go, and it's not usually very crowded. So that would be, if anybody's interested in doing that, we could possibly add that in. Lou and Denise, I haven't heard anything new about them. We got the email, that's been a couple weeks ago, that they were in transition. Her father or mother, whoever, one of the family had died. They're working with that. And then their children are moving to Michigan, so they're contemplating moving to Michigan with them. And then Lou has also had health problems too. So we'll light a candle for Lou and Denise. Mike saw Chaz and Paula, and they're doing well. So we need to talk to them if they would be okay with it. I'm thinking some Sunday after church we can go over and sit in the garage, and some of us will drink a beer, the rest of you can have apple cider or coffee or whatever, and try and keep Charlie happy. He's such an outgoing person, or has been in the past. I'm sure kind of being cooped up in the house is not very good for him, so I'm not very accepting. That all depends on how Paula feels about doing that, whether she thinks he's up to that or not. So we'll check with Paula and see. She did get her Christmas card from the church. I heard from other people that got a Christmas card that they were thankful for that. So we need to continue to think about the people who aren't here. My brother has his surgical consult, I think this week sometime. My brother has cancer. They went down for a PET scan in Fort Wayne. They're from northern Indiana, Auburn. That's where our dairy farm was. Actually, the farm is still there. And they got, which is typical for doctors, there's a problem here, it could be this, it could be that, it might be this, it might be that. So they have to talk to the surgeon. My guess is biopsy is the next step, and then that will tell them where they go. The critical question for me is whether the lymph nodes are involved or not. If it's localized, surgery and chemotherapy and radiation are pretty effective. If it's begun to spread through the lymph nodes and through the body, then you're in serious trouble. So we'll just see what happens. But we're in contact with my brother and his wife almost on a daily basis, trying to give them support. 2.5 hours away, so we're not really able to go up, but we'll go up sometime in the next week or two and see if we can help them out a little bit. Ukraine, we have our sunflowers as a standard thing. They're being basically, I can't get into the politics of that, but they're getting tremendous support from the EU. The European Union has basically vowed to borrow money to give to Ukraine to keep their economy running and to keep their defense industry going. That money and support is being withdrawn by the United States, which the United States seems to be favoring the Russian approach. And as I think about that, I was listening on the radio on the way in today. There is a complete wave of populism and right-wing authoritarian governments sweeping through South America and Central America. These are all being subsidized by the United States. Argentina, that has a far-right government, has just gotten $40 billion of money from the United States to support Argentina, which they then sold soybean meal and soybean oil to China, taking the market away from the United States. It's pretty unbelievable, and I'm hoping farmers will recognize this, that we are subsidizing countries who are our competitors and taking the food out of the mouths of American farmers. So I just can't keep politics out, sorry. And anybody is welcome to come up and give the other side. We have no problems with that. Israel, I think there were 6 or 7 Palestinians killed yesterday or the day before. That makes 384 since the ceasefire was stationed or was opened and in place. And I think there's 3 Israeli soldiers have been killed. So the ratio is about the same, 384 to 3. They're talking about rebuilding Gaza, but they're talking about cleaning it out and moving the people of Gaza out. We can go through that sometime. I just heard a thing this morning on the population, the genetic population of Israel versus the genetic population of the Palestinians. Which one do you suppose has the history that goes back for generation after generation after generation in Palestine, in that part of the Mediterranean? The first 6 Israeli prime ministers were all from the Eastern Europe. All of them have changed their name. Even Benjamin Netanyahu, that is not his real name. His real name is an Eastern Ukrainian name, Lubavitch or something like that. So when we talk about a homeland, that's a pretty diffuse thing. That's what we call a liminal state, an in-between state. Anything else? All right. Snow everywhere, weather disasters everywhere. So what's the government's response? We're closing down the investigatory department in Colorado that does all the work on figuring out what's going on with the weather, because it has basically unintentionally, but following science, has supported global warming. That is considered DEI, anything for global warming. We could just go on this. They just stopped all the windmills on the East Coast, the turbine production. All that electricity was going to power 4 million homes. That has been canceled by the government. So the price of oil, the price of electricity is going to go higher because we've cut the electricity supply. This is like shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, it's unbelievable what is going on, which is why I say we are in this liminal space that needs to be changed. Okay, our closing hymn, we'll light a candle for any of those fears, trepidations, hopes, desires, maybe that you're not even aware of. If anybody has any from out there, please send them to us and we will do our best to support you. Our closing hymn is 241. Still in the Christmas theme. right, in the bleak midwinter, frosty winds made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow, in the bleak midwinter long ago. Once more child and mother weave their magic spell, touching hearts with wonder words can never tell. In the bleak midwinter, in this world of pain, where our hearts are open, love is born again. The words, the text on these, that's why I read them. When we sing them, we're not really hearing them, but the words have a very deep meaning. They carry a lot of thought and interest with them, so that's the reason I read them. We have to do our horse thing. This is extinguishing the chalice. The days of awe begin with us today. May the next days be days of reflection, introspection, and peace. May we prepare ourselves for the changes in the years to come. May it be a good year. May it be a healthy year. May it be a year of peace for all of us all around the globe. All right. Postlude is, where's my paper? Oh, I missed a paragraph. May it be a year of peace within ourselves. May we live our lives with integrity, service, and love. May we be blessed with the strength of this community, of our families, and of our friends. May we remember what is truly important in life, and may we remember to be grateful every day. May we all be inscribed another year in the book of life. Lashana Tova. A little Israeli Hebrew statement by Deborah Hafner. Old Ang Syne for our postlude. All right, and we always have to have something about horses. So we have a horse-drawn sleigh. We had a chance because we had the snow, but I didn't have my sleigh ready, so I missed that one. And one more, your happy Santa Claus horse. Okay, that's the end of our service. We will, as our habit, leave one candle lit for all of our absent friends and colleagues. Hopefully they are all doing well. If they need something, please let us know. And that ends our service at First Universalist. Have a good day today and have a good New Year's, and we'll see you after the New Year's starts. Coffee and donuts.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good to see you. Do you have a nice journey up here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very easy.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cecil got up late and said she had no way she could get me ready in time.
Oh, really? Oh.
It's not often that happens. She's an early riser, so she wants to not have a good night.
Yeah, I was kind of late today too, so, yeah.
We had all that extra time. We did. We had to give people a seat.